Over the next 20 minutes, I'm gonna give you the framework I use today, not just 20 years ago when I started my career, the same framework I use to build millions of followers and how I've generated millions of sales with my art over the years. And this same framework can be applied to whatever style you create in and whatever community supports that. My goal with today is for you to feel like you're going into 2026 with confidence and an actual framework you can follow to build real momentum, not just this year, but for years to come. First, I'm gonna go into what I call the Art Star method, testing this method in real time. This is on my TikTok account. I experimented with a new style and I'm gonna share some insane results with you during this time we have together. A quick introduction of who I am. My name is David Garibaldi, and maybe you follow my channel or maybe you're just getting introduced to me, but let me just share with you a quick journey of where I started. That is me as a high schooler in animation class with just a huge dream. And along the way, eventually to today, I am a performance painter. I create these large portraits in minutes to music. But to get to this point, it was not a straight road. I started painting live at local nightclubs and jazz clubs, and it has evolved into a performance, but it's still art at the core, and it has still followed this framework that I'm gonna share with you today. I've been a full-time artist the past 20 years, over 100 live events per year for the past 20 years as well. I've licensed my art products for prints and collabs, and I've helped raise over, now at this point, just about $10 million for charities and nonprofits through the sales of my artwork. And I've done some really cool collabs, and I have some collectors that include everyone from Universal Pictures, Kiss, Jordan Brand, Nike, Disney, Netflix, and beyond. Now, most of the artists that you see online, you just see the front-facing Instagram post when it pops up. They're smiling, they're in the studio creating, but behind the scenes, what's really happening is probably complete chaos. Now, I know the feeling. At this point in my career, there are a lot of things that I've done right, but also there's a lot of things that have gone very wrong. And just some of those, I didn't graduate high school. I have no formal painting training. Many of my print drops have failed, and I have a lot of unsold paintings back behind that wall. But I wanna just fast forward that heartache for you so you don't have to believe the lies that have been told to us that, one, you can't have a career in the arts. Now, what is this method and what does it mean? Let's start with the first part, art. Art stands for arrive, reach, and train. Arrive is that moment where we all just realize we're born as a creative and there's no other thing we could imagine doing. And now we're at the point where we've arrived and said, look, I think I maybe want to pursue this as a career. But the R stands for reach. And this is when we know we have the talent, we know we have the gift, but now we're just gonna push ourselves just a little bit to improve, not on a competitive level, but just to be better than we were yesterday. And train. This is where we actually start taking art classes, figure drawing classes, or maybe we even pursue education in the arts. Now, we're not gonna focus on that today. What we're gonna focus on is this next part, STAR. STAR stands for Search, Technical, Attract, and Revenue, and I will break down each and every single one of these. All right, if you're ready, let's hop into it. Search is where you discover your method. This is a time where you have to have the willingness to try and to fail, while still keeping the enthusiasm to grow. This has to be pure passion. I remember when I first started painting, I was in my dad's garage throwing paint around. There was no plan. It was just, look, I really enjoy this process and I really want to get better at it. And that is where everything began. And just keep this in mind as we go forward. This graphic that I have on the screen, there's a very big difference between what not trying and what failure is. Failure is not shooting the darts at the target and hitting sometimes and maybe not hitting at all. Failure is all those arrows or darts in the can never being used. So this search is about taking the risk, taking the chance, and maybe you're already there and maybe this will just reaffirm the journey that you're on. But you wanna ask yourself these very important questions during this phase. What to create, how to create it, and also what's the unfair advantage that you have that you can use. Now, just some examples of what to create. This is based on your life experiences. It could be a background in music, which I had a background in dance, and so those became influences for the work that I created. Now, how you create also can affect your style. For mine, there was a speed in which I like to create, and also there was a show experience in the style of my painting. And so you're also gonna search for how you create in your unique way. And of course, your unfair advantage is what could determine how fast you can grow. I grew fast early on because I had an experience in editing and also just interacting with people in live events. And I also really got better at it over time, but just project management. It's not a real fun part about the arts, but it helps us not only take on more projects, but also move from one project to the next. Search is essentially about the development of what and how you can create something consistently. That's the key here. Next is technical. This is when we create our systems, which is essentially less time to start equals more time for art. This is the moment where you just completely get rid of motivation. Motivation is your enemy as a creative. What we're trying to do in technical is create the systems that create discipline, that create a pattern, and we don't have to guess whether we're gonna create or not, or whether we're gonna see results or not. Now, some easy ways to approach this is making sure that first your studio is set up, ready to create. You have a way that you can capture your process as well, and then you can easily catalog the finished work by photographing and putting into some sort of digital file system. I also highly recommend any project management system. I personally use Notion and Asana. You can research some, but these will just help keep all the things that you think you have to keep in your brain in a very safe place. Now, I'll share about a very cool moment where these systems paid off. Now, it was a Thursday night. I got a call from a very big influencer and said, hey, I want to get a gift from my celebrity friend. And I said, great, well, when do you need it by? He said, I need it by Saturday night. I looked at my watch and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Well, because I had these systems in place, I went into the studio that Thursday night. And not only did I create the image, I also captured it and cataloged the image in our system. Friday, after the painting had dried overnight, I got it packed, shipped off. Now, as much as I thought that was the end of it, the ease of this process, having the systems in place, it wasn't, because there's a lot of things out of our control, like the shipping being delayed a little bit, or even my friend trying to find a way to stretch and present it. And so we tapped into all of these solutions, and eventually Saturday night, we got into the hands of MD Motivator, and he was able to gift this painting to his friend Paris Hilton. Now, had I not had any system in place, this opportunity would not have happened at all. So this isn't just about making money or just making more art. It's really to help you show up for opportunity. Attract. This is where your collectors are attracted by how you speak for them. Now, yes, we are creating art that we love and enjoy ourselves, and the subject matters that move us. But what does that say for someone else? When it does, that is what creates a collector that is banging on your gallery door, your studio door, saying, I need that art because it speaks so much for me, my soul, and my life. And attract is understanding what parts of your art are attracting them and speak for them. Now, I have a few examples of artists that I think are doing an amazing job of this. First one is Ben LaBuzzetta. He creates these large numbers filled in with sports and athletes, and he attracts athletes and sports fans. Justin Bua, with his classic hip hop style of painting, attracts people who are into a very specific genre of hip hop culture. And Chris Rogers creates live every Monday night at Kill Tony, and he's attracting a ton of fans of comedy. Now, another key ingredient for attracting is not just subject matter, but also core values. Now, I saw this take place when I went on tour with Andrea Bocelli, and we had helped raise over $1.5 million through the sale of the art that I created on this tour. Now, the highest grossing piece was over $100,000. Now, this was not just because it was the art that was created, and was not just because also Andrea Bocelli signed it, but it was because we all believe in the same core values of using our resources and our talents to give. Now, all these proceeds went to benefit the Andrea Bocelli Foundation. So what core values do you believe in that you can either share through your work or share in some way how you communicate online through your email list and to your collector? Revenue. Now, this is the most important because this is what allows us to create what we enjoy, but also to create the pieces that sell and put the roof over our head, or pay for our studio, or keep the lights on. But don't look at it just like money. Look at revenue as in paid in exchange of value. Keep that in mind. This visual should be on every artist's wall, print it out, put it on your wall. Now, this is a very basic sales funnel, but if you can learn this, you'll understand the importance of having some sort of funnel where you're attracting new collectors and also working them down to them taking action and collecting. Just to do a quick breakdown of it, the largest part of this top of the funnel is awareness. This is just posting on social and being out in real life and meeting people, putting as many people in that top part as you can. As they move down, there's the interest and desire. This is when they're reaching out, asking questions, and maybe not every single one collects, but they're just getting closer. And the ones that are ready to take action, maybe you've never met them before, and their first interaction is like that, or they've been following you for years. But either way, knowing when they're actually ready to collect, and that'll save you a lot of heartache, not thinking that everyone in that awareness part of the funnel is ready to buy. To make real revenue, they have to be in that action phase and ready to collect. So if you're meeting them online, make sure that you get them offline, talk on email or on the phone, call them. Offer 3 options. Maybe the original doesn't work, but maybe you can do a hand-embellished canvas print or even another limited edition print of that same image. Or maybe you take a deposit for a custom painting done later on in time. But either way, if they say no to that one original, give them a few other options. And of course, just make it easy for them to pay. And this is very important. Your consistent output will create your consistent income. It's one of the most important parts about this. That's why we're not relying on motivation. We're creating patterns and systems behind the scenes so that it creates the environment for us to be creative consistently. And when we do that, it creates consistent income. So just to recap on the star part of this, search, finding what you want to create and how you want to create it first. Spend that time however it takes. Technical. These are the systems that help you do this consistently. Attract. Learning what moves your collector, whether it's core beliefs or how are you speaking for them or the community that they're part of. And of course, revenue. Where are they on that consideration sales funnel? Are they just aware of your work or are they ready to take action? Now, before we move on to the next part, take this in. This is a simple framework and I know each one takes a whole lot of work, but as long as you know that there's a path ahead, this year, you don't need to feel lost anymore. I know maybe you've tried some courses or you've watched a ton of YouTube videos. This is a path that I know maybe you're already 2 steps into this and you just got to work on the next 2. Let me know down below in the comments, where are you at in this journey? Or have you done all of them and you can just increase your capacity in each of those to truly win at your art career in 2026. And if you want to go and grow further with your art brand, there's some info down below to join my Art Supply Members Club. Okay, how did this work? Now, I gave myself a challenge because I knew I was creating this and I gave myself this. I said, discover a subject and create content that will generate sales, leads, and sustain growth. What I really meant by that was search for a subject, create the technical stuff behind the scenes that I can create content as well that'll generate leads, which is attracting, and make sales, revenue. Let's hop into it. So I chose a very specific style of music called corridos. It's part of a Mexican style music, but also in the bigger, broader range of things in Latin music. But I got very, very specific. Now I'm a fan of this music and I know some of the artists. So I thought, let's start here and see, even in the smallest niche, can this art speak for the audience? Let's see what happens. So in the beginning phases, it wasn't just about finding the subjects, it was how do I capture it? How do I create and frame it on camera so that it translates well to social media and makes people want to share or want to engage? Eventually, I found a process. And once I found it, I stuck to it, I doubled down, and that's where I saw things change. I went on to create a series of these artists, and the results were insane in just a 2 to 3 month span of this challenge. 10 million plus views, 111,000 plus comments, and get this, 50,000 plus shares. Now this was across all platforms, and I'll show you the analytics from this. My favorite part about these analytics is in the beginning, you see it going all over the place. And then eventually it starts to steady out and gradually and steadily go up. That is the system working. That is showing up consistently, and then you get consistent income of engagement or revenue, whatever that is. And even to go further, I highlighted the sections where this was at. I was searching for a style, putting the technical part together behind the scenes, and then we started to attract the collectors, and the revenue started, which I'll share in a moment, and steadily rose from there. And by the way, we gained 31,000 new followers on TikTok during that time. Some of the other really cool parts of this, of the revenue, was new brand deals. Because we were consistently putting work out there as an artist, you don't think about a brand deal. You just think about selling art. But brands want to tap into this way that you create and the way that you present it to the world, which I was just surprised and happy to discover. This one was for Universal Pictures for a movie they were promoting called Woman in the Yard. And it was a really cool deal. Another one that came up was for BMW. Same thing. They want to tap into how I create, what I create, and make their brand part of this experience. Now, yes, there were other painting commissions that came from this and sales from my inventory. Back behind that wall, a bunch of paintings that need to be sold, and because I was consistent, the sales came in because of that. Now, yes, this didn't make money, but gifting the paintings to the artist still opens doors that money can't. So if you get the opportunity to gift your work to highly influential people in the world or the culture that you're creating for, do it. And just to summarize that, we got a bunch of new warm leads. They're people that are getting introduced to my work and familiar with it, new industry contacts, and my almost dead TikTok page brought completely back to life. So as you're going into 2026 and you're like, look, I've been doing this for years and I still feel lost. I know that feeling, and that's why I put this system into place. And I want you to steal it, take advantage of it, use it. 2026 has to be the year where you feel like, look, I have real, true direction now. I don't have to guess how I'm gonna find collectors. I don't have to guess how I'm gonna create it or when I'm gonna post. And one thing we're gonna do and how this ArtStar system works is motivation is not part of this equation. Patterns, discipline, predictability, all things that we've been told as creatives and artists are not part of how we create. And I think that they lied to us and they did us a disadvantage. And so as someone who's sitting in a place who has gained millions of followers, generated millions in sales, and raised millions through my art to help others, once you have a system like this, the ArtStar, in place, you never have to guess or hope if things are gonna work out or not. Now, I hope this video was encouraging to you. And if you wanna go and grow further, there's a link down below to join my Art Supply Members Club. It's a weekly newsletter where I send out tips like this, but I break them down into more detail. And of course, it'll be a place where I'll share more opportunities where one, we can either meet up or we can do some further training as well. And if you found this helpful, I just ask you consider subscribing down below. And most important, leave a comment. What part of this helped you the most, or what part do you want a further explanation on that needs more details, you need some work on? I'm happy to do future videos about those. My name is David Garibaldi. Thank you so much. Remember, ArtStar, Arrive, Reach, Train, Star, Search, Technical, Attract, Revenue. This is your roadmap to grow and go even further as an artist in 2026 and beyond. I'll see you in the next video. And by the way, check out one of these videos as well. It may help you with that next step.